From the land of frozen lakes, this is 10,000 Takes, brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we slice and dice the always busy, always topical, super saturated Twin Cities sports scene. And once again, we're on television. We're normally on radio, but we're on the tube a couple times a week. And do you know what time it is? Because we lost an hour.
Yeah,
we were a little late getting to the studio, but I won't hold it against you.
Wow. It wasn't an hour late, though.
No.
Which would have made me about 45 minutes early.
But I know when you drove in, you were listening to that old Chicago hit song. Does anybody really know what time it is?
Yeah, well, the Twins thought it was a wheel and deal time.
Yeah, where's Monty Hall? Let's make a deal.
Oh, my goodness.
Or two or three.
They spent the weekend busily wheeling and dealing, and you trade away your catcher, Mitch Garver, and you pick up a shortstop from Texas. Then you turn around and trade him after you pick up Sonny Gray. I like the Sonny Gray trade. To me, that was probably the best deal of the weekend, although dumping Josh Donaldson didn't bother me either.
Well, I know you've never been a Josh Donaldson guy.
Except when he played for the Indians.
And they get Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela, but how about the name Sonny Gray? That's like a weather oxymoron.
Yeah.
Sonny, but Gray. He should do weather here in the Twin Cities.
I didn't even think of that. Of course, you brought that into the picture.
He should be Snowy Gray.
Yeah, I was going to say.
More sunny snow.
More snow on this fine Monday.
Yes, indeed.
Look, I think that, as I was trying to say before you so rudely interrupted me, which you have a habit of doing, by the way, I like the Sonny Gray deal because you gave away this Chase Petty, right? That's the
18-year-old top draft choice last year.
How do we know if he's going to be a major leaguer someday? We don't.
Well, given the Twins' history, he might be an ace someday. But you're right. It's a gamble, and they're I like the approach of let's try to win now, and they know they have to bolster their starting rotation. And Sonny Gray, I think, instantly becomes their top guy. He's a two-time All-Star. He's pitched for Oakland and Boston and, of course, Cincinnati. I don't think they're happy down there in Ohio with Sonny Gray being peddled for, a prospect.
Yeah. Well, and look, how often have you seen it where prospects just don't pan out? I just think of, what was the guy, the Bumgarner? Remember that guy that the Twins drafted a millennium ago? And for that matter, Miguel Sano has been good, but not great. He's had a couple of good seasons, but he struggled. They had to send him down to the minors a couple of times. He's battled some injury issues. You just don't know how these guys are going to turn out. But Sonny Gray is a proven commodity. You plug him right in. He's at the top or near the top of your rotation now. Him and Dylan Bundy are probably 1-2.
Joe
Ryan with his 7 major league starts. Yeah, I think that you're looking at a situation where you have to add some pitching depth, and they did that there. Now, the Josh Donaldson trade, you're trading away a guy who has been an all-star. He obviously was carrying a $21 million price tag. I think that's the number one thing here, because if you trade away Josh Donaldson, your third baseman, okay, he hit, 26, 27 home runs last year. He only hit 247. I think what you end up getting, though, is some room to maybe make another move. They're going to have to go out and probably get yet another pitcher. So I think that was, in my mind, I think that was a good move as well, because I think you're freeing up some salary cap space.
Well, and for the New York Yankees to pick up Josh Donaldson's contract, that's chump change for the evil empire. They could care less what he makes.
Exactly.
They sign those kind of deals to players, annually. I mean, you look up and down their lineup, their payroll's always probably going to be top 5 in MLB. Sometimes it's number 1. Although the LA Dodgers seem to be the top payroll team right now. And with this flurry of activity, so I think we can officially say Bomba Squad 2019 RIP, because Mitch Garver was part of that.
No doubt.
Bomba blitz the Twins had when they set a single-season home run record. He's gone. Eddie Rosario's gone. And Nelson Cruz is gone.
He's a Washington National.
How about that? He's that universal DH. We knew there would be a lot of teams lining up for Nelson Cruz. We heard the LA Dodgers. We heard San Diego.
Right.
And Washington steps in. Nelson Cruz still has a lot of game. He's not quite Tom Brady. He doesn't have 7 rings. But, I mean, he's playing at that level at that age into his 40s. So Goodbye Nelson, goodbye Mitch. Gary Sanchez, interesting though. He's had success with the New York Yankees, but it's past tense. He hit 204 last season. I think he had 23 taters. So we'll see. The bad news for Gary Sanchez is he won't get to face the Twins, remember? The Yankees are kryptonite for the Twins. They always beat them.
Yeah. Well, the flip side of that, of course, it's good news for Josh Donaldson. He will get to see the Twins pitching staff. But Sanchez, so you inject some power into the lineup. He will give you power. He's going to strike out a lot, obviously, when you get a power hitter like him. He's not a great receiver, though. He has trouble catching the baseball. Mark my words, you will see that this year, and you're going to say, oh, yeah, Wally told me about that. This guy can't catch the baseball very well. So, yeah, you add him into the mix. He'll be your everyday catcher, I would think. You got a couple of guys who hit about $150 between the other two that were still on the roster.
I hope he is, because we talked to Tim Laudner last season, and he didn't like the way the Twins basically platoon the catching position. And as a former catcher, like Tim Laudner was, you need to get in a groove. And he believes a guy should catch, roughly 5 games a week. Give him a rest once in a while. It's a demanding position. But I like the way Kansas City uses Salvador Perez.
Right.
He's in the lineup most of the time.
Yeah.
He'll probably catch 4 to 5 games a week. Then they can use him as a DH or give him the day off.
Okay, so the third baseman they get is Gio Urshela. He comes over. He hit like 267 last year, I think 14 home runs. So I don't think you're losing a lot. Donaldson gave you some more power. Gio Urshela is going to he's younger. He's going to give you a few more years. And he's a pretty good defensive third baseman as well. I know that the folks in Cleveland had been talking about losing Gio Urshela a few years ago and how he had thrived with the New York Yankees, and they wish they had him back because then they'd have Ramirez that they can move over to second base and they wouldn't be looking for a second baseman. So I think I think Gio Urshela is going to be a good pickup for the Twins. What they do with that money that they saved by trading Josh Donaldson, that's the remaining question.
Yeah.
Do you go out and get Zach Greinke?
Stay tuned. I'd certainly make a run at him. They need another stud in that starting rotation. And the other thing about Josh Donaldson, durability. That was the caveat. He was not in the lineup every day. And I start to wonder, he is a fabulous player when he's on the field, and I think he's pretty good defensively. Great quickness and reflexes down there at the hot corner. But he reminds me of, say, Russell Westbrook or James Harden in the NBA. He's a former MVP in Toronto, but he's bouncing around the MLB map now. Atlanta, Toronto, Oakland, Minnesota, New York Yankees. He's almost too good to be on that many different teams in his career. So we'll see if New York City, Gotham City, can be a fit for Josh.
Yeah. I saw Batman, by the way, over the weekend. Or The Batman. Pretty good movie.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring that in since you brought Gotham into the mix.
Yeah.
One thing I won't miss with Josh Donaldson.
Uh-oh.
Well, come on. You watched him play. He loafs. I mean, if he gets a base hit, he's not hustling down to first. He just kind of jogs down there. If he hits a fly ball, he just kind of jogs down there. You don't know if the guy's going to drop it or what's going to happen in the outfield. I've seen it way too many times. I don't think it's a great attribute. Let's put it that way. I think that Josh Donaldson,
It doesn't cost 1 cent to hustle.
Exactly.
Every ball player out there needs to realize whether your skill set is, below average, or very good, if you hustle all the time, good things can happen. As you said, somebody can drop a pop fly or the wind can carry it and the fielders can't get it. So, yeah, you always got to run the ball out. In New York City, they will call you out on that, by the way. We'll see how Josh handles that scrum of New York City media on a daily basis.
No doubt. Good riddance as far as I'm concerned.
I won't go that far, but I'm sure the Twins are saying we don't have to write that big check anymore to Josh.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out,
That's
Josh.
the Steinbrenner family that will deal with that. All right, stick around. Al Newman, two-time Twins World Series champion, 87 and 91, will join us, and we'll get into a lot more because it's March, and the mayhem known as March Madness is upon us. This is 10K Takes, your Twins ticket.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I fair airing. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
$10,000 takes, Wally and Eric, and we have been talking baseball as the Major League Baseball season is soon upon us. And, of course, we've been talking Twins baseball specifically. And we are joined now by former Minnesota Twin. And he, of course, was a two-time world champion with the Twins at 87 and 91, Al Newman. Newmy, a very busy weekend for the Minnesota Twins. They ship Josh Donaldson away. They pick up Sonny Gray. Let's dissect and bisect what happened with the Twins over the weekend. What did you like? What didn't you like?
Well, I tell you what, my phone was blowing up, because my friends think I'm involved and have some knowledge previous to things going on. But no, very exciting. Much more activity than the Twins are known for, especially the quick splash like they made these three Pacific trades. I'm happy. I think, first of all, let's just start with Sanchez. I think he's an everyday catcher. I think he's an upgrade over what we've been watching for the last 2 years. And I like it. I really do like that trade. We did get Sonny Gray, a number one on our pitching staff, a guy that the younger guys can emulate or follow around and get some knowledge with. So I like what the Twins have done. I still say they're rebuilding, but yet they're adding pieces that would keep us competitive.
Al, what about Josh Donaldson going to New York to the Yankees? He called out Garrett Cole last season with that sticky stuff on the baseball. That garnered national attention. What's it going to be like in that locker room when Josh Donaldson and Garrett Cole bump into each other?
Well, if Cole's at the door when he opens it, there might be a right cross that comes through as a welcoming committee. But no, immediately I thought of that. Sometimes you say things not thinking that you'll run across someone or especially be their teammate. But I think it's all good. I think it did hurt Cole mentally there for a few starts afterwards because his ERA and his effectiveness totally did change right away. But you know what? When you're on a team and you're fighting for the same goals, things go by the wayside.
Josh Donaldson's salary goes away. Do you think that they use it now? What the salary cap room? I guess salary room, not salary cap, because there is no salary cap in Major League Baseball. But do you think that they use that to go out and get another frontline starter?
I hope they go get a starter because, first of all, you got to have defense, but you have to have the starters that put the ball in play and are effective throughout the strike zone. I'd either like for him to go get Trevor Story or spend it on starting pitching. And when I say starting pitching, especially at this point, guys, we know the big boys are gone.
Right.
I think a guy that was serviceable for the Twins the last 2 years, Michael Pineda, is still out there. When I look at that list, there's not a whole bunch of guys that I'd want to throw money at. I think, you brought Gray in. You've got Mr. Bundy that you got from the Angels. And then you've got three young pitchers that we're looking to see what they're capable of. So Michael Pineda gave us quality innings. Well, okay, my bad. But you know what I'm saying. We got that would give us three veterans in the rotation and three young guys, which with the way spring training only being 2 weeks long, I think you've got to have a six-man rotation at least the first month of the season.
Al, are you more optimistic now about the Minnesota Twins? They were a last-place team in 2021. We had that snow flurry of trade activity going on over the weekend. Are you more optimistic about their chances in the AL Central, which I don't think is a super strong division?
Yes, I am. I after these 3 days of trading or 2 days of trading, I have a better mental picture of what the team would look like and the capabilities of this particular team. But again, that bullpen, man, if you've got young pitchers in your rotation, you've got to solidify that bullpen. And we all know that's probably the toughest to find quality guys from year to year because it's such an up and down job. But yes, I am more excited about this team now than I was 2 days ago.
You mentioned Sonny Gray. They pick up Sonny Gray in exchange for the young guy, Chase Petty, who they drafted last summer. You saw Chase Petty throw. What were your impressions of him? And do you like the idea of, taking a chance at trading away a prospect like that? How you just never know with prospects. I mean, you could be a number 1 overall pick and wash out.
Oh, for sure, guys. Having managed in the minor leagues, a lot of high draft picks come around. They get the big payday right out of high school or right out of college, irregardless of they earned it in college with college numbers. It's something to be said about the competitive nature. But I did get an opportunity to see Mr. Petty throw. I didn't say it was overwhelming, but yet the guy threw strikes. He had a little bit of a breaking ball. It was an inter squad type setting with no umpires. I think Tommy Watkins was the umpire standing behind the mound when they were doing this little inter squad game. But I think sometimes when you're trying to go get what you need, there has to be a willingness of giving up a so-called prospect. In our organization, I'm not saying the Twins don't grade their prospects like other orgs, but they definitely don't get the notoriety unless they're like a kid like Buxton or Sano
Right.
when they were number 1 throughout all of minor leagues. We haven't had too many of those guys that were considered number 1s throughout all of baseball.
Al, we saw the Los Angeles Rams go all in at the expense of draft choices. It paid off. They won the Super Bowl. Von Miller, OBJ, Matthew Stafford. Can you do that thing in Major League Baseball? The Twins kind of did it by letting Petty go, but is that the wise way to go in MLB?
Well, I think you have to raise some pitching in your minor league system. But I think if you have quality position players, you can trade for what you need if you have a willingness to give those up. Now, the Twins have a plethora of outfielders. Who's to say they're all going to be great players? But, when you can package a Kurloff or, a guy like that, or Larnick or Rooker, we don't need all these outfielders. You can pick up free agent outfielders to platoon, but I think you do have to raise a couple of pitchers, but they're so hard to find, guys, especially with the way they're grading them out now. And you really don't get an opportunity unless you have a spin rate or you're throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour. A pitcher is something of the past right now.
Do you think Gio Urshela, you had mentioned to me before we started the interview that maybe they slide him over to shortstop from time to time? I can't see them using him at shortstop full-time, or is that a possibility you think they might be entertaining right now?
I think they're going to play those guys all around. Let's not forget, you've got Arias, you've got Gordon, you've got Lewis that's down below, supposedly the shortstop of the future. I just think the kid has the ability to play short. And even if you play short this year, maybe next year, you slide him over to third base. But you do have to eventually decide what you're going to do with all these extra outfield guys that we have. We've got to get some assets in return, or they're going to have to come through. And who knows, maybe Sano is expendable for a third or fourth level pitcher in a rotation.
I like how you work spin rate into the conversation, Al. I'm sure that's what Garrett Cole and Josh Donaldson will be discussing when they meet up down there in Tampa at spring training.
Dear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Reminds me of Lombo and Gladden, huh?
Oh, I was there. I seen that one. Yes. There was a lot of formal greetings going on. And as Tom Kelly said, they handled it like men. And if you watch the highlight tape at the end of the year, Gladden's holding Lombo and he's waving a towel because we were champions. So the ultimate goal is to reach the title, and we got it done.
All right. Well, thanks, Al. Appreciate you spending some time with us, and we look forward to talking to you again here in a few weeks as Major League Baseball gets underway for real.
Oh, thanks, guys, and let's go. Let's go, Twins.
All right.
Thank you.
He is Al Newman, former Minnesota Twin. And, of course, he played, he coached, he did it all right here.
Broadcaster.
Oh, that's right. on 10,000 Takes. Stay with us.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Nice Rink makes it easy and affordable to create your own outdoor rink. We're hockey players ourselves and spent the last quarter century perfecting the Nice Rink system for the skating community. It is truly engineered to be simple and affordable. What you see here is an actual rink recently set up. Our components are professional grade, the strongest liners for the money. They're engineered to be strong, hold up better than wood, and lighter than solid plastic. Rink in a Box is a great way to get started for only $350. Visit nicerink.com now or call us at 1-888-NICE-RINK to order. Spend less, get more.
And we continue along here on 10,000 Takes, Wally and Eric. And boy, you can't get the NFL off of the top of the headlines. Your guy Kirk Cousins is going to be around for a couple more years, it looks like, as a Minnesota Viking. And of course, this all happens on the same day that Tom Brady says he's coming back. Huh?
Yeah. The NFL Bigfoots everybody. It just eclipses all the other sports. Well, TB, back in TB, Tom Brady, Tampa Bay. 40 days and 40 nights of retirement. I think he said, enough is enough. I don't want to be around, just sell that much. So I'm going to go play for the Bucs. But Kirk Cousins, he's won the NFL lottery twice now. He gets an extension. He's going to pull in $40 million this coming season, $30 million in 2023. The Purple saved $14 million of cap money, so I guess it's win-win. And really what it comes down to is the Minnesota Vikings had no better options than Kirk Cousins. They couldn't get a guy like Russell Wilson. They certainly weren't going to get Aaron Rodgers. That was a pipe dream. So Cousins is good. We've gone over this a million times. The stats are there. I mean, he has the resume statistically. But the stat that counts is wins. And he doesn't have a lot of those. He's basically a 500 quarterback. So it's up to Kevin O'Connell and Quasi Adolfo-Mensah, the new regime, to surround him with better pieces. They know exactly what he is and what he needs to thrive.
Yeah. He needs an offensive line to protect him. He needs a running game so that he can do play action. And he's going to need wide receivers. Now, here comes problem number two.
The conundrum.
Yeah, how do you fit all these pieces in under the salary cap now that you've chewed up $70 million for him over the next couple of years?
Cap's gone up to $208 million, so they have a little bit more to
so does everybody
maneuver
else,
with.
though.
I know. No, and you're exactly right. And how do you fix a defense that had more leaks than a colander last year? I mean, they're not the Purple People Eaters. They're not even the Mike Zimmer gang of 3-4 years ago. So what do you do there?
Yeah, no, you're right. They've got a lot of pieces that they have to put together and things that they have to fix. You've got big salaries with guys like Thielen. You're going to bring him back. Are you going to bring back Michael Pierce, the nose tackle? It is a jigsaw puzzle right now, and we'll see how the new regime handles all these moving pieces. But Kirk Cousins is your guy now. We know that for the next couple of seasons.
Captain Kirk guiding the good ship Purple Enterprise for at least 2 more years.
We spent the weekend, this past weekend, down at the XL Energy Center. We didn't see the Wild play, although they got thumped again on Sunday. But we did watch some great high school hockey, including the championship game where Andover beat Maple Grove in double overtime. But just a great spectacle at the XL Energy Center.
Yeah, it always delivers, whether it's Class A or Class AA, and the fan bases from all these schools show up. It's really the place to be, especially on Saturday at noon, and then Saturday night at 7 o'clock for those 2 title games. And St. Paul dubs itself Tournament City, and it really lives up to that billing. And the state hockey tournament is a Terrence Fogarty painting come to life every year. I mean, that's what it is. And, boy, you see so much talent on the ice. The one thing I noticed in calling some games was that these guys play faster than high school. I feel like I'm doing college hockey.
Yeah.
And you expect a lot out of them. I mean, Alex Bump, my goodness.
Yeah,
and you go on and on. The mayor, Giuliani from Maple Grove, with 2 hat tricks back-to-back games. So there you go.
Yeah, no, those guys were fantastic. It was fun to watch, and we had a blast doing them on the radio all weekend long. Okay, finally, speaking of March Madness type of things. Final Four, they've got the brackets are out. I know you'll be filling one out, whether you actually pay your bracket, you pay for your bracket's a different issue. But of course, no Minnesota teams involved in the women's or the men's. We know that. That's like an ongoing thing here in Minnesota. Although we have several players from Minnesota that'll be part of it. I saw Wisconsin got a home game basically. They're playing in Milwaukee. Brad Davison was right at the front of that picture, the former Maple Grove player, when they cheered when they got their number 3 seed. So I guess good luck to the Badgers.
or the Iowa Hawkeyes, who certainly finished strong in that Big Ten tournament. My goodness, it's really, you want to cut to the chase, it's embarrassing for U of M men and women. Neither can get to the tournament. Your Gopher women's team will go to the WNIT.
Oh, boy.
My question to you is, if they win it, will there be a parade in Dinkytown, or will there be a riot?
Oh, jeez. Let's hope not. Let's hope we avoid both of those. All right. You can continue on that when you do Takes of the Day. That's coming up next. You are watching 10,000 Takes.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Well, time always goes by at warp speed here on 10K Takes because we have so much fun, all the hijinks. It's a thrill a minute. So takes of the day are upon us. We're going to find out what your mood is, Wally. Angry American, cranky Yankee, giddy Guardian, grumpy Guardian. What is it today?
Well, if I were a Minnesota Wild fan, I think I'd be very grumpy. Now, pregame on Sunday, you might have been thrilled. They finally did the honor for Mikko Koivu, and they raised his number 9 to the rafters. Appropriately so. 15-year veteran. He meant so much to the Minnesota Wild's organization. He's the first player to have his number retired and raised to the rafters. So next time you go down to the XL Energy Center to do a state tournament hockey game, you'll see that number 9 flying above. But boy, I'll tell you something. Your Minnesota Wild, they're sinking like a rock. They're now tied with Nashville as they head into their next game. That'll be on Wednesday, home against Boston. Tied with Nashville for the final spot in the non-wild card situation. And they're only 5 points ahead of Dallas. They could be out of the postseason after they were way better than that earlier in the season.
Yeah, they're basically on that playoff bubble. And the mood meter says grumpy Guardian. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
All right.
All right, well, my take of the day, a little bit of a spin-off on what Wally just touched on. Sunday night at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, the Celtics retired Kevin Garnett's number 5. Yeah, that KG, who's Mr. Timberwolf, easily the greatest player in franchise history here in Minnesota, but he doesn't have his number retired. No. He doesn't have a banner. He doesn't have a statue, which he deserves, because there's so much acrimony between KG and Glenn Taylor, the current owner. That's got to change. That is embarrassing that Boston retired KG's number before Minnesota. Wow.
Yeah, and he didn't even play there that long. He was there 6 years. He did lead him to the 2008 title.
He did. So. But enough said. All right. We will FedEx out those thank yous, one to Rocky, one to Al Newman, one to the great crew that makes this show possible. For Wally, I'm Eric saying this is 10,000 Takes, your sports ticket.